Welcome to another episode of the Fantasy Basketball PH podcast. Enjoy the show.
Fantasy Basketball PH. Put your money where your mouth is. At ibang talakayan kaya tara halika. Fantasy Basketball PH. Fantasy Basketball PH. Ang numero unong basketball patasya ng Pinas. Fantasy Basketball PH. Dito mapag-uusapan mga ballers na ligas. Fantasy Basketball PH. Put your money where your mouth is. Iba't ibang talakayan kaya tara halika. Fantasy Basketball PH ang bida. Ang pahina na ito'y magsisilbing daungan sa mga hilig na ang basketball ay mapag-usapan. Kasama si Papi Roy, madami kang matututunan gaya ng strategy, analysis sa kaganapan. Pag-uusapan ang DFS, roto head to head, buy low, sell high, add, draft and trade, magic punot at iba pang transaction sa laro. Lahat dito'y tatalakayin kayo, huwag na lumayo. Bida dito yung mga player na magaling kumamada, mala Nikola Jokic at Victor Wembanyama. Yung mga hustle na player like Russell and Dillon at iba pa ay dito natin pwedeng makonsume. Let's talk about NPBL, UAAP and PBA together with NCAA and NBA. At sa lahat ng mga nangungopya ka ng literal, sa aking mga content di rin kayo magtatagal.
Ayan mga paps, welcome to the Fantasy Basketball PH podcast, your Filipino brand of fantasy basketball. Ang numero unong fantasy basketball podcast ng Pinas. At syempre, I am your NBA Fantasy Papi, Papi Roy ng FBPH. And this is our weekly cross episode sa Radyo Pilipinas, Dos Sports, 9:18 AM. So, ang pag-uusapan natin for this specific episode, ang week 1. All of the updates, transactions, and happenings, yun lang mga notable syempre, hindi natin may isa-isa, na mga nangyari in the first week of the NBA. So excited na ba kayo? Kasi syempre, ako, bago pa mag-umpisa yung season, sobrang excited na ako at hindi tayo nabigo. Napakadaming malulupit na happenings. May good, may not so good, at yung mga bagay na yan ang pag-uusapan natin for today's episode. So umpisahan na natin. Just for you to be familiarized dun sa magiging content natin every week hanggang matapos ang NBA season. So may iba lang yan siguro All-Star break. Pagkatapos next time na may iba siguro yan is trade deadline and then yung playoffs na. Pero the rest of the weeks, ang magiging content natin is about the standings, yung mga injuries na nangyari, sino yung mga hot and cold players of the week. And then we are going to look forward and analyze yung upcoming schedule for the following week. Okay, so nabanggit ko yung standings. So currently, ang mga nangungunang teams for both Eastern and Western Conference. So para sa Eastern Conference, it's the defending champs, the Boston Celtics with 3 wins and 0 losses. Followed by Cavaliers na may bagong coach. Is this the Kenny Atkinson effect? Kasi meron na silang 3 wins and 0 losses as well. So tingnan natin kung mami-maintain ng dalawang team sa East yan. At sa Western Conference naman, dalawang teams na 3-0 is the Los Angeles Lakers. Shout out sa mga LA Lakers fans. Kung merong Kenny Atkinson effect doon sa Eastern Conference, meron namang JJ Redick effect dito sa Western Conference, kaya nakatatlong wins na nga itong LA Lakers. And then of course, one of the most exciting and upcoming teams, not only in the West pero sa buong liga, is the OKC Thunder. 3-0 din para dito sa Thunders for the Eastern Conference. So, yan ang mga nangunguna na teams so far in week 1. Again, ang pinakamadaming games pa lang ilan yung mga teams na yan kasi nakatatlong games na sila. Pero yung ibang mga teams, 2 games pa lang yung nilalaro. So let's see as the week goes by, subaybayan natin kung totoong mamaintain na itong mga to yung kanilang standing. For the OKC Thunder, wala pa si Hartenstein dyan at kababalik pa lang ni J-Dub. So medyo may adjustment pa yan. Pero naka 3-0 na agad sila. Samantalang itong Lakers naman na nabanggit ko kanina, ang ganda ng mga adjustment nila. There were games na alanganin sila. They weren't really shooting that well in several games. Hindi pa gumagawa si D'Angelo Russell. Hindi pa nagkiklik yung outside shooting. Pero ang kagandahan niyan, compared to the last season, meron silang actual adjustments. They allow Anthony Davis to score. They allow Rui Hachimura, of all people, to score. The last season si Torian Prince ata yung nabababad. So it's clicking. So let's see if that's something na maging trend na moving forward. Maraming Lakers fans ang matutuwa diyan. At doon naman sa Eastern Conference, kailangan pa ba natin pag-usapan yung Boston Celtics? They are doing this without Kristaps Porzingis. So I guess medyo clear at malaking posibilidad na mag back-to-back championship ang Boston Celtics. Pero that's not yet a guarantee. But so far, numbers don't lie. Mukhang sila talaga yung team to beat for this year again para sa NBA. At kanina yung Cavaliers nga nabanggit ko, it's about the coach naman. Ito yung storyline ng Cavaliers kasi yung pagdating ni Kenny Atkinson, kung si AD yung nabigyan ng highlight ni JJ Redick, dito naman sa Cavaliers, na-highlight naman yung kanilang big man din na si Evan Mobley. And mukhang okay yung dynamics ni Donovan Mitchell sa ni ni tawag dito ni Garland. Kasi nung mga previous weeks coming to the actual regular season, question pa yun eh. Yung pagdating ni Kenny Atkinson, sabi nila could solve that and mukhang totoo nga yung inasahan ng mga analyst about Kenny Atkinson. And similar din to OKC, itong Cubs wala pa si Max Strus kasi hindi nagkaroon siya ng injury eh. And yung mga backup players niya like Dean Wade and then Caris LeVert is actually stepping up. And there are a couple more names na hindi nyo basta-basta usually ina-expect na talagang gumagawa for the Cleveland Cavaliers. So, it's a very exciting season para dito sa mga koponan na to. By the way, before we move forward, couple of teams pala, baka magtampo yung ilang pang mga fans ng teams na umaangat din sa standings. Kahit na may isang loss sila, 2-1 ng Orlando Magic and then 2-1 din ng Atlanta Hawks para sa Eastern Conference. Para sa Western Conference naman, 2-1 ang New Orleans Pelicans, Memphis Grizzlies, LA Clippers na napaka-exciting panoodin this year, Golden State Warriors, Minnesota Timberwolves at New Orleans Phoenix Suns. So yun yung mga medyo maganda yung umpisa to start off the week. Siyempre, kung merong good news ng mga teams, meron din namang medyo inaalat pa. And best team to highlight is last season's champion and current team ng best player or most valuable player of the NBA na si Nikola Jokic. The Denver Nuggets currently 0-2. Dikit, halos yung dalawang laban na yon. I mean, hindi natin masasabi na na-dominate sila basta-basta ng OKC or pero ang punto ko kasi dito, it's completely different from the previous Denver Nuggets that we know. Ako personally, medyo pumuso ako eh na if yung Russell Westbrook sa Jokic na tandem maging complementary at magkaroon ng positive impact, then maybe kaya to ng Denver Nuggets kasi I think Nikola Jokic is problem even for the Boston Celtics eh. And that's one thing na palagay ko yung Boston Celtics matcha-challenge. So with that said, I thought na may chance itong Denver Nuggets. Meron pa rin naman, 2 games pa lang naman. Pero it's not a good and ideal start for the Denver Nuggets. Let's see how will they solve this. Obviously, they lack shooters. Yung mga wings nila medyo pata pa. Chris Brown is doing a good job defending. But in terms of shooting, him and Strother isn't really doing great. To the point na si Jokic, grabe, meron siyang, 6 or 7 tres nung previous na game nila against the LA Clippers. So, it just shows na kailangan nila ng shooter. So, abangan natin yung mga transactions na gagawin ng Denver to hopefully ma-utilize talaga nila yung peak years ni Nikola Jokic being our best player in the NBA. On the other hand, sa Eastern Conference naman, hindi naman pinakakulelat ang Milwaukee Bucks. So gusto ko lang i-highlight to kasi sa mga liga na sa NBA naman yan yung liga na hindi lang this year yung pagpaplanuhan eh. Some teams that are not really good is already planning for their future. So the likes of the Wizards, the Pistons, pagkatapos sa West naman, Portland Blazers, medyo Utah Jazz. So yan yung mga teams na kung alam din naman nila na matatalo sila, mag-i-invest na sila sa future nila. So hindi ko na masyado hindi na natin masyado itatouch yan kasi alam na naman natin yung current na situation and current na strategy nila. So ang i-highlight ko na lang dito sa Eastern Conference despite winning a game is itong Milwaukee Bucks. So Milwaukee Bucks just lost 2 games to start of the season. Of course, obvious naman na injured si Chris Middleton and that's big for them. Ang akin lang kasi is ang laki ng difference last year before magpalit sila ng coach. And tuloy ngayon, pati si Ham, nakaka-join lang din sa coaching staff nila. Medyo nababash na, lalo na mga LA Lakers fans. Kasi parang, tinan mo naman yung improvement ng Lakers. Tapos ngayon, sumali si Ham dun sa coaching staff ni Doc Rivers. Biglang nagtatatalo ang Milwaukee Bucks. So, maybe that there's some truth to that. But for me, I really respect yung pagiging coach nitong mga nabanggit nating pangalan, si Ham, saka si Rivers. Pero sometimes, especially sa NBA, wherein napakabilis nung trend, ang daming magagaling na coach, madaming magagaling na players. Well, ganun din naman sa coach. So, there's something talaga na they have to do and to adjust and to work on kung gusto talaga nilang bumalik doon sa top ng Eastern Conference. I think Giannis and Dame is really trying to do their best. Kaso, ang konti ng movement nila ng offseason and I don't think na sumabay yun dun sa mga upgrades ng ibang team. Hindi naman as in sobrang dami ng upgrades ng ibang team, pero they really maneuvered towards improving their chances pagdating sa playoffs and eventually championship. Ito kasing Milwaukee Bucks, medyo one of the team na nakarely na talaga dun sa top stars nila. And you have Giannis, fine. You have Dame, sure. Wala kasi si Middleton. And then Brook Lopez is aging. And then after that, sino na? They got Torian Prince na favorite ni Dervin Ham. Pagkatapos andin si Gary Trent Jr. Which is for me an improvement from last year's Malik Beasley and Jay Crowder. But is it enough? So yan yung subaybayan natin sa mga upcoming weeks for these two teams na used to be champions in the past 5 years. Pero ngayon, medyo maalat yung umpisa ng kanilang season. Okay, so puntahan naman natin yung mga not so good na news. There are several notable injuries. So doon lang yung sa mga notable players ang topic natin. Yung iba na injured baka hindi na natin nabanggit. Pero let's start off with Stephen Curry. Nagkaroon siya ng ankle injury. Kani-kanina lang. Just few hours ago. And itong si Stephen Curry, alam naman natin na he started off his career with a very shaky ankle injury na withstand naman niya throughout the years. Kaso this time medyo matanda na siya. So, wala pang final prognosis, at least as far as I'm concerned. Malamang lalabas din yan soon. Pero this isn't good for the Golden State Warriors. Saktong-sakto, maganda yung umpisa nila. Malaking bagay na wala si Stephen Curry. For me, almost nakaangkala din sa kanya yung Golden State Warriors. They are deep than last year, pero in terms of really yung alam mo na gagawa and can really provide value, putting the whole team under his shoulder. Si ano na lang yun, si Stephen Curry. Of course, you have Draymond Green, pero he helps the team in a different way. So, malaking butas yung pupunan nila sa kawalan ni Stephen Curry. Hopefully, okay to. And if mamaya pag-usapan natin sa schedule, may back-to-back games pa ang Golden State. So, if okay man yung balita, I think iuupo nila si Stephen Curry on that back-to-back. So, question is, sino magbe-benefit? Paano ngayon yung dynamics ng Golden State Warriors? Unang-una mababago to, no? Kasi walang katulad si Stephen Curry. Ibang-iba yung dynamics ng sistema nila kapag andyan si Stephen Curry saka wala. So, yung i-assume mo na direct lang napapalitan ng isang certain player, I don't think it works that way. I think it's a different approach para dito sa Golden State Warriors. So, may mga ilang names tayo na mababanggit. For example, si Podziemski. So, I think he is going to be the direct replacement kasi siya yung may kayang gawin yung role ni Stephen Curry. Not the scoring, but more of like being that combo guard that can play make, that can shoot. Actually, Pods can do a lot. arguably he could actually defend better than Stephen Curry as of the moment kasi medyo aging na si Stephen Curry. So siya na yung best bet na papalit doon sa role ni Stephen Curry. But in terms of utilization, scoring and all, I think it's either um, Wiggins na pinakita niya sa game ngayon dahil si Wiggins has been their scorer couple of seasons back, nagkaroon lang siya ng problema and he is starting off the season very well. So I think he is one of the prime candidate to get the chunk of utilization and usage na mawawala or mabubutasan sa kawalan ni Stephen Curry. Another name could be Jonathan Kuminga. So si Jonathan Kuminga, we are expecting a breakout season pero isa din to sa mga medyo hindi maganda yung umpisa eh. Let's see if he can actually feed off a good stat line in today's game. Pero he really need to step up. Lalo na wala itong si Stephen Curry. So that's for the usage. For the playmaking role, nabanggit si Pods, pero there's a good chance na it's going to be Draymond Green. Kasi nga may iba yung dynamics ng sistema nila. So it could be Draymond Green. So meaning kapag uupo si Draymond Green, maybe it's going to be slow-mo Kyle Anderson. Kasi pareha sila eh. May playmaking chores sila. So yun yung mga posibleng mangyayari. And the moment na umusog yung rotation, maapektuhan din yung ibang mga players. They now lack a very good shooter sa kanilang floor. So Buddy Hield could end up getting a lot of minutes kasi malaki yung kawalan ni Klay Thompson. Ngayon nawala din si Stephen Curry. Hindi natin sure kung to what extent yung injury niya. So I'm expecting Buddy Hield to really be on the floor most of the time just to give space sa sistema ng Golden State Warriors. And if not, then it could be DeAnthony Melton. Kasi si DeAnthony Melton naman, combo guard that can defend. Kasi yun nga, babalik ulit tayo dun sa analysis natin na may iba talaga yung dynamics ng Golden State. Maybe yun yung approach nila na let's put DeAnthony Melton dun sa combo guard to be more defensive minded lineup and then allow Pods and Wiggins and Kuminga to actually carry the scoring load. No? So there's a lot of it, pero sa ngayon yun muna yung quick analysis natin sa injury ni Stephen Curry. Another injured player, itong si DeJounte Murray. Kakalipat lang sa New Orleans, almost triple-double. Pagkatapos, na-fracture agad yung kanyang kamay. I think, based on prognosis, malamang katulad to halos no timeline or timetable na Isaiah Hartenstein from the OKC Thunder. So that's about 4 to 6 weeks. So give or take, hindi naman tayo doktor no, mag-guarantee kung ano yung mangyayari. Pero malaking bagay ito sa New Orleans Pelicans. CJ McCollum is going to be the primary beneficiary as their main guard. Pero you have someone like Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson that can play point forward. So maglalaro lang yung usage saka playmaking chore sa tatlong yon. So dahil yun yung adjustment at dahil wala pa itong si Trey Murphy, injured din, I think one of the names na aangat in terms of value is going to be Jordan Hawkins. He is arguably their best shooter after TM3 na injured and CJ McCollum. So they need that scoring coming from the bench from Jordan Hawkins. I would also put the Ninja, no? Si Jose Alvarado dun sa posibleng magkaroon ng an additional playing time kasi he's another guard coming off the bench. So malaking bagay din yung may tutulong niya habang wala si DeJounte Murray. And this could also shake up yung front court kasi may iba nga yung dynamics eh. So now, maybe mas mabibigyan ng chance si Yves Missi or si Daniel Tyus to get more bigger run dun sa kanilang current lineup. So, obserbahan natin yan. Alam ko, in the reality and fantasy, valuable itong si DeJounte Murray. So, medyo mag-aabang-abang muna tayo ng ilang weeks bago maglaro siya ulit. Next one, medyo bata-bata pa, Brandon Miller, strained glute, out about 2 weeks. So, I think meron pang isang week bago siya bumalik. So, abangan natin yan. For me, ang naging impact talaga nung kawalan ni Brandon Miller is yung pag-angat ni Treyman. So, kung fan kayo ni Allen Iverson, nako, matutuwa kayo kasi if you check yung galawan sa kayong pormahan nito ni Treyman, almost katulad ni Allen Iverson, no? So, shout out sa mga 90s na kids dyan. Mag-enjoy kayo dun sa hindi naman direct pero indirect na benefit dun sa kawalan ni Brandon Miller. Of course, you have Lamelo, you have Miles Bridges, pero Trayman being a scorer actually compensates yung kawalan ng scoring ng Charlotte dahil injured pa itong si Brandon Miller. And doon sa mga nagfa-fantasy, alam nyo na yan. Lahat ng mga nabanggit nating injured players, for me, are buy lows. So, check nyo lang yung upcoming episode natin sa Fantasy Basketball PH. Maglalapag tayo ng mga trends, more in-depth analysis katulad nitong ginagawa natin for this episode. Later, idadrop natin yung episode na yan. Lastly, Emmanuel, quickly, again, kaparas almost kaparas ni DeJounte Murray. Kakalipat lang niya ng team last season at ngayon yung parang debut niya for the whole season na siya na yung primary point guard ng Toronto Raptors. And unfortunately, nagkaroon siya ng pelvic injury. Ang alam ko, he's already ramping up. Maybe in the upcoming games, bigla na lang maglaro si Emmanuel quickly. But understanding na ang direction ng Toronto Raptors is shaky. Alam mo yon? Ibig sabihin ng shaky is hindi natin alam. Itatry ba nila maging play-in contender o magiging interesado sila kay Cooper Flag. So dahil nasa gray area pa sila at hindi maganda yung statement ni Jakob Poeltl na isa sa mga veteran center nila sa team nung interview na sinabi niya na ay baka i-prioritize namin yung development over winning. Abangan natin kung ano yung pag-handle at pagmamanage ng Toronto Raptors kay Emmanuel Quickley. Kasi pelvic na part ng para sa isang player, lalo na sa isang guard, very athletic guard na si Emmanuel Quickley is a little bit concerning kasi hindi yun basta-basta maghihil kung lagi-lagi mo din gagamitin at in terms of maneuvering. So, again, something to monitor. Hindi pa naman sure. Pero for now, optimistic tayo na makakapaglaro na ulit itong si Emmanuel Quickley. Okay, hot and cold players. Umpisahan natin sa hot players. Syempre, manggagaling to dun sa mga teams na madami na panalunan, no? So, let's talk about Anthony Davis. 3 games, scored 35, 16 and 3 blocks, 16 rebounds. Next game, 35 points na naman, 8 rebounds and 2 blocks. Pagkatapos, recent game, 31 points, 9 rebounds, and 2 blocks. Meron pa siyang almost 1.5 to 2 steals every game. With that said, I guess isa siya sa mga front runners to win the Defensive Player of the Year and even the MVP. No? So far, at least for week 1. Well, MVP, maganda yung performance din ni Nikola Jokic kaso so-so lang yung performance niya nung first game niya. SGA, maganda din yung performance, Luka. So there's a lot of contenders MVP. Pero as a whole, also considering yung defensive stats, I think Anthony Davis is on top of that list. And plus, considering na 3-0 ang LA Lakers. So we have to credit that. So shout out dun sa mga fans ni Anthony Davis at dun sa fantasy basketball community din naman. Shout out dun sa mga nakakuha kay Anthony Davis sa kanilang usually around 5th to 6th pick to. So ako, meron pa nga akong 8th pick kay Anthony Davis kasi nag-slide siya. Alam mo naman natin yung injury concern, but looking at how Anthony Davis plays, it seems like healthy siya. At ako ina-expect ko na parang transition season na to eh. We are actually in the farewell tour ni LeBron. Not saying na magre-retire na siya after this year, pero malapit na. So, I think kailangan fully utilize nila si LeBron habang andyan pa siya. And JJ Redick did a good job allowing Anthony Davis to play like this and even LeBron as well. On the other side, Chet Holmgren. Alam ko naman na alam nyo na isa akong big Spurs fan and alam nyo na isa to sa mga upcoming almost Larry Bird, Magic Johnson rivalry in the future is going to be Holmgren versus Wembanyama. And since accountable naman tayo at honest naman tayo, I would say na this week, Chet Holmgren won. I think he outplayed itong si Victor Wembanyama. Started the season very slow, hindi kaganda ng percentages, not a lot of defensive stats. Pero itong si Chet on the other hand, grabe yung pinakita. Itong si Chet Holmgren actually tallied first game 25 points, 14 big rebounds, 5 assists, 4 blocks. Sumunod na game 21 points, 16 rebounds with 2 blocks. Sumunod na game 25 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 6 blocks. So, in terms of defensive player of the year, itong dalawang player din na to, Anthony Davis and Chet Holmgren, ang mukhang on top of the list over dun sa highly favorite na DPOY candidate na si Victor Wembanyama. So, shout out dun sa mga OKC fans at Chet Holmgren fans dyan. Kung meron tayong hot, meron din tayong cold. So pag-usapan naman natin itong si Tyrese Haliburton. Wa Hindi lang one pala. First player na nasa all-star status na main man ng isang team to actually get an egg or 0 points this season, no? If you check yung previous stats sa stat line niya, started of the season with 15 points lang, pero meron kang 3 steals, 2 blocks. Ang concerning dito, 4 assists lang dito sa game na to eh. And then followed by an egg, 0 points. Pagkatapos meron siyang 5 assists lang. And then recent lang, 22 points. Pagkatapos meron siyang 4 assists lang and 2 steals. Another concerning part of his game is he shot 6 out of 18 nung nakaraan. Recently, 8 out of 18 lang. This is really concerning, not only in fantasy and even in reality. Kasi maybe it's not just about Tyrese Haliburton, it's also about yung dynamics ng Indiana Pacers. If you'll check, itong si TJ McConnell, saka yung pag-angat ng laro at ng role ni Andrew Nembhard is actually affecting yung style nung transition and offensive game ni Tyrese Haliburton. Kasi meron na silang Pascal Siakam, meron silang Miles Turner. And not only Tyrese Haliburton is acting like an SG more or scoring guard more, mas na-allow nung current plays and system nila yung the likes of Nembhard and TJ McConnell to enable yung mga other stars and scorers ng Indiana Pacers. Maybe another thing is itong si Benedict Mathurin. Kasi si Benedict Mathurin, in comparison to Nesmith, and yun nga, Nembhard, hindi siya masyado slasher type of a player. Scorer talaga siya. So, nagkakaroon ng stoppage dun sa flow. Kinakailangan niyang nasa kanya yung bola initially. There's several angles, pero a little bit concerning lang. In fantasy, nadadraft siya earlier, usually middle part ng first round. So, medyo masakit yan na ganito yung performance ng first pick nyo. Sa mga Indiana Pacers fans naman dyan, hopefully, this is just a hurdle. Ang concern ko lang talaga, lalo na sa fantasy, it's a matter of really managing the risk. And kung marami masyadong questions and what ifs na katulad na nangyayari ngayon kay Tyrese Haliburton, then I doubt na talagang valuable siya to be a first rounder moving forward. Hopefully makabawi siya para naman ma-justify yung pagiging top pick niya. And then another thing to highlight here is alam natin na makakabawi siya. 100% sure yun. Imposible naman zero siya lagi, di ba? Ang tanong ko lang is, mababalik pa rin ba niya yung expectation natin kay Tyrese Haliburton? He even played for the US over Jalen Bronson, di ba? So that's how valuable he is. Pero he need to establish and polish his game para ma-recognize na talaga siya ng NBA as one of the primary and top guards of the future. So, again, Tyrese Haliburton, medyo maalat ang umpisa natin, no? Unang beses na nangitlog. Bakit kaya? Bakit kaya? No? Feeling ko alam ng ibang mga fans ko bakit. Maraming mga angulo dyan na hindi natin pwedeng sabihin sa episode na to. Okay, to cap off our episode, let's talk about the schedule. So in the upcoming week 2, ang schedule natin for next week, meron tayong mga notable na teams to talk about. So first is the worst schedule. So worst in terms of fantasy basketball to, and of course in terms of the fans na mapapanood yung mga teams nila, also considering yung mga matchup. So for me, worst is the Philadelphia 76ers kasi dalawa lang yung games nila eh. The rest 4 games, 3 games, sila dalawa lang. So technically, medyo worst siya just because of the number of games. Pero it's a good thing for the Philadelphia 76ers para makapagpahinga pa yung mga main stars nila. Remember, ang assumption is yung dalawang stars nila, Embiid and PG-13, is going to be out in the first 2 weeks. So that's this week, and then next week, dalawa lang game nila. So it could be something na silver lining for the Philadelphia 76ers. Those 2 games, they're going against the Detroit Pistons and the Memphis Grizzlies. In terms of the number games and the dynamics of their opponents, I think ang best schedule naman for next week is going to be the Sacramento Kings. Sacramento Kings is gonna play against Portland, and Utah back-to-back, and then Atlanta, Toronto back-to-back. So we're talking about three teams na posibleng tanking and isn't really good in terms of roster, and one team na mediocre, which is the Atlanta Hawks. So matchup wise, solid na solid. And then they have 4 games pa. Tapos they have back-to-back games wherein masusolidan mo talaga yung mga stats and performance na makukuha from the players. Syempre, in reality, hindi naman maganda yon para sa mga players sa Sacramento Kings kasi back-to-back games yung mangyayari. Let's just observe, this is a good week for the Sacramento to try and gel with each other dahil medyo nabago din yung dynamics nila pagpasok ni DeMar DeRozan. Let's look at Kevin Huerter kung ma-maintain niya yung 2 position niya kasi completely nawala na si Keon Ellis as their main defensive guy. So maybe okay na sa kanila yon. Hindi nila kakailanganin yung services ni Keon Ellis. Next week is something that we could monitor to validate those questions. Kung meron man akong idadagdag mga Paps, that's going to be the Dallas Mavericks for medyo sabihin na natin best or better games just because they play on the lighter days. When I say lighter days, ito yung mga days sa NBA wherein almost less than 8 or usually 4 to 3 games lang ang nilalaro. At kadalasan napupunta yon sa Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. And all of those days, may laro ang Dallas Mavericks. They play against Utah, Minnesota, Houston, and Orlando. Utah, Minnesota, Orlando, mangyayari lahat yun sa Tuesday, Thursday, at Sunday. So, that's nice. Kasi napaka-solid nung days na yon. So, in terms of fantasy, hindi kayo matatakot na ay baka sobra-sobra yung mga players ko. Kasi on that day, it's either 4 to 3 games lang ang maglalaro for the NBA. So, sobrang light days. And shout out sa mga fans ng Dallas Mavericks. Okay din naman. Feeling ko sakto lang din naman tong laban nila. Medyo mabigat lang yung Minnesota sa Orlando. Masusubok talaga agad yung Big 3 ng Dallas Mavericks. Okay. So ayan, I hope nagustuhan nyo yung content at laman ng ating episode for today. This is just week 1. Magkakaroon pa tayo ng multiple weeks at excited na ako na makasama kayo all throughout the year. So maraming salamat sa suporta. Again, check nyo yung ating page Fantasy Basketball PH sa Facebook. Mostly doon ang content natin. Every Friday, meron tayong live Q&A and discussions. Check nyo yun. If you have more questions sa content natin every week, i-park nyo lang yan pagkatapos join kayo dun sa ating live episode. So, shoutout again sa Radyo Pilipinas 2 Sports 918 AM. Ito ang inyong NBA Fantasy Papi, Papi Roy ng Fantasy Basketball PH. Always choose peace, mga paps. Bye-bye.